So, welcome into my improv apothecary. Let's just say I'm the assistant of this establishment. While the headmaster is away, I am taking over, and she has tasked me with making just a little bit of potions. 3 to be exact, because that's all she trusts me with. Which is fair. I've only been an assistant for the past couple months. But today we will be prepping some ingredients, fulfilling the 3 orders, and such like that. For today, we have a sleeping potion, one sleeping potion, and then another one, potion of luck. Last but not least, we do have a moon glow potion, one of my master's specialty. Now, I'll explain just a little bit of each potion. So, with the sleeping potion, obviously induces the drinker to sleep, but the depth of slumber depends on how much is taken. So, if a couple sips were taken, then maybe a light nap. But if the user drinks the whole potion, then a deep, deep slumber is cast over them. Usually takes a couple days to wake up. Therefore, we recommend scheduled sips for this potion. Next, we have the potion of luck. It is a very, very sought after and elusive potion. You see, this one relies on a lucky item. And once you choose your lucky item, then you imbue it with magic to create the potion. Basically, it uses magic to manifest luck. And finally, the moon glow potion. You would think that it would make a person glow, but you would think wrong. This does not illuminate a person. Instead, it's one of my master's cosmetic potions. It does have some effects that smooth the skin and creates a healthy looking glow, but in the skin, of course. Now, I have these 3 orders, and I have until tonight to do them. I've only made these potions once before, so we'll see how it turns out. Time to cozy in, sit back, relax, and watch me make a potion. I have a couple of tools here. This one is an invention that my master acquired when she was visiting the city. This one, I believe she called Sky Source. A very interesting object. I will say it took me a few tries to get it right. In theory, this contraption has 2 blades kind of hinged together to slice through with ease. It makes the processing way easier. Next, we have a purified blade. It's very, very, very important to have a purified blade when prepping ingredients. You can't just use any regular blade. No, you can't. In order to preserve the ingredients, you must use one of these. You can find them in the city. They are handcrafted and magically imbued via runes. Quite a hefty price, I will say. Sometimes you have to go into the city to get them sharpened or even the runes re-etched. And next, we have a cauldron. My master specializes in very, very, very potent potions. Therefore, her cauldrons, they're not big. They are very teacup sized. I have here today a mini cauldron. My master also uses a unique material for her cauldrons. Typically, you would see cast iron cauldrons being used, but recently, a new discovery in a new material, ceramic. It's a type of earthy material that is able to withstand high heat. It is also protected by glazing, so potions won't be seeped within the cauldron. And it's also easier to clean. A very expensive asset, if I do say so. What's the most important ingredient? One of the most important ingredients? Spring water. You would think you need special water for potions. You would be sort of right. But honestly, my master says the purer the matrix is, aka the water, the more room it allows for the ingredients. Therefore, you don't want a complicated matrix and stuff like that. Purified spring water will do just the trick. And last but not least, we have our magical jars. One for the moon glow, one for the potion of luck. And finally, one with a tapered spout for the sleeping potion. These jars are magically crafted to contain the magic properties of each potion. Typically, apothecarists can use regular jars, but it is found that on the shelf they tend to lose their magical properties. Therefore, using magical jars are the solution to this. Now, we will first go with the sleeping potion. Let's see. For the sleeping potion, you have a handful, and I say handful, of troll hair. Next, you will be adding just a pinch of sheep fleece. And then a couple drops to scent preference of some lavender oil. Last but not least, some ancient moss to finalize the potion. I think it was 2 pinches hydrated or 2 pinches dehydrated. I think it was dehydrated. Actually, not 2, 4 pinches of dehydrated. There we go. Now we have all of our list. I think we can start brewing. For the troll hair, a little bit of outro. Troll hair are gathered by brave adventurers who venture into the caves that they live in to retrieve some hair. But it's only if the adventurers are adventurous enough and maybe brave enough or maybe stupid enough to get close to one. I've never really seen an adventure ask nicely from a troll, but I do hear that they tend to catch the troll while they're sleeping and cut a piece off to bring home. Because of this, a hefty price is paid for the troll hair. For the potion, we will finely cut up the hair so it can dissolve properly. We shall do just a little bit of cutting. And this is where the sky soars get very useful. But I do admit, I think mine is kind of dull. They say if you don't handle it properly or use it on the wrong materials, it can damage the blade. But don't tell my master. There we go. I think the hair is adequately chopped up. It's important to add this one first before the water. if you add the water first and then the hair tends to stick to the surface and not get properly mixed. Therefore, we add it first. Definitely not because I forgot to add the water. Who's the apothecarist? Me or you? Next, the sheep fleece. This ingredient you also add before the water because it's more of a hairy texture. We receive the fleece in clumps. You kind of pull apart the pinch you need and kind of spread it out. It's very, very, very important that you stretch the fleece. First of all, it gets any impurities out. Second, it makes it nice and soft. I always hate prepping sheep fleece. It's so much work on my arms. There are tools that you can use to make this easier, but no, my master said that hand pulling always offers the best results, much to my dismay. Fluffy enough? I think so. Now we will add that in. Spring water now is next. Make sure that you don't add the heat before you add the water. If you do that, you run the risk of burning your ingredients. And lesson learned, it's not very fun when you burn troll hair. It's not very fun on any of your senses. Your eyes will burn, your nose will burn, your mouth will burn, your higher being will burn. Yeah, it's very much a powerful ingredient. Now, where is my spring water? We will add enough just to fill halfway. Now, let's pour. Now we can move on to the lavender oil. It's not really a magical ingredient, but my master says that it creates an aromatic scent that relaxes the user, and I believe this one is safe to ingest in small doses. And my master has a very, very special way of extracting lavender oil. First, she boils the lavender for a day, not a second longer, and then she takes the extract and boils that one down to concentrate the essence. Finally, she adds some boar oil to solidify the extract. From then again, another boiling process to get the pure lavender. It's a very, very intricate process. You'll have to ask my master about it. I think this request asks for a few drops. Well, I will try my best. One, two, oh, yeah, that was a few. Okay, well. Lavender. There we go, there we go, there we go. Definitely lavender oil, not banana oil at all. Now that the oil is added, we will do a little bit of a mix. Typically, oil and water doesn't mix, of course, but when heated up and such, it kind of mixes a little bit. My master also instructs that the potion is shaken well before ingesting, just in case any oil likes to sit at the top. Okay, now for my favorite part. The ancient moss is a prized possession by the forest folk. It is very coveted for its soft and pillowy texture. People usually are able to find forest folk when they see a soft patch of ancient moss. When it's grown in the wild, it is very soft and fluffy, perfect to rest on. However, when it's harvested and brought outside of its original forest, it begins to dry out. Its magical properties remain and can be reactivated with spring water. In order to extract it, we do have to use our purified blade to get the required moss. I always hate this stuff when it gets on your fingers. do have to use this moss in another potion after, so I might as well cut a lot. I think just a little bit more. Oh, that was a big chunk. I think there was a bug in this patch. Most definitely a bug. And I think that's enough moss to last me for the day. Hopefully. Now that the moss is all chopped, chop, 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 chopped, chopped, chop, chopped up, we can add it to the cauldron. What did I say? 4 pinches, I believe. 1, 2, 3, Oh gosh, now my hands are all mossy. Ugh. Ugh. Remind me, I need my hand moisturizing potion. Now that everything is added, it's time to mix and mix and mix. Now that it's all appropriately mixed, we can set it to boil. Let's see. And as the potion finally finalizes, we can turn down the heat. Turn down the heat. There we go. I think this potion is ready to pour, if I do say so myself. The trick is how to get this potion in this jar without spilling. Its spout is quite small, so I fear we do have a wooden spoon. That we can scoop, 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 scoop some out. Hopefully. Let's get some good stuff. One scoop. Into the jar you go. A little bit of a tap. And another scoop. And a tap, 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 tap. I think it's safe to pour. It was very unsafe to pour. But that's okay. Very ethereal looking. Now we'll put that aside and give the cauldron just a little bit of a rinse. Now for the potion of luck, we will need two notebook sizes of spellbound paper. we will need 1 chimera heart. Next, our lucky item will be 1 very large rabbit foot. Last but not least, again, a handful of wood sprite shedding. First, we will add the spring water. And let's collect our sheets. This one here and this one here. Where do we source our spellbound paper? Sometimes scholars imbue parchment with magic to help preserve the document. Sometimes, though, scholars do tend to mess up their calligraphy, thus leading to discarded parchments. But you can't just discard magic properties that easily. That's why I, as the assistant, go visit the local magic academy to retrieve these papers. And for the potion, it helps it give an extra little kick. So, how to prepare the paper? It's quite simple. You grab your sheet and you just tear it in bits of pieces. The smaller the notes, the paper, the faster the potion will brew. It's very, very, very important that when you're brewing, you stir constantly to allow the pulp in the paper to break down in the potion. I should remind you, I am wearing special magic gloves when tearing up this paper. It's very important to wear your personal protective equipment, especially when handling raw magic. Of course, my master tried to get me to wear magic protective eye shields, she says, but I just think they're too clunky and they fog up way, way, way too easily. It's important that you add the spellbound paper first to allow it adequate time to soak. Now that we added the spellbound parchment, next is a chimera heart. This one is a very, very, very rare ingredient, and it's only obtained by adventurers who successfully kill one of these creatures. Usually these creatures are left alone, but sometimes their population gets a little too wild. So guilds put up requests and quests for adventurers to cull the population. And you would think I would dump this whole heart into the potion, but that's where most apothecarists make their mistake. The prime ingredient here is the congealed blood within the heart. Adding this blood to the potion will guarantee its effects will last more than one day. think that heart is adequately trained. Now, the next ingredient is a rabbit's foot. This is my lucky item of choice. You can use others like a lucky coin, a horseshoe, a four-leaf clover is very sought after as well. What else is lucky? But mine is a rabbit's foot. This item will be used as a catalyst for the luck potion. A catalyst. 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 This one is a very fluffy, fluffy, fluffy. Fluffy, fluffy, fluffy. Fluffy, 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 fluffy. Now, the last ingredient for this potion is the wood sprite shedding. They say a traveler is extremely, extremely lucky to even catch a glimpse of a wood sprite during their adventures. These little tricksters like to remain unseen, but sprites, they start as a sprout, but eventually grow in size. What is discovered is their bark falls out to accommodate new growth. They like to shed around trees to help them peel off the unused bark. If one knows the location of a sprite colony's favorite shedding tree, then an abundance of ingredients can be found. I have here just a few. And 1 to the pot, 2 to the pot, 3 to the pot, 4 to the pot, and 5 makes a handful. Now that we have everything, it's time to mix and mix and mix and put the cauldron to a high, high flame to let the paper pulverize. 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 Did I say paint? I mean paper. Now let's make it to a boil. Now we can go ahead and pour the potion. There we go. You know you've done it right when the potion turns the shade of your lucky item. In my case, mine was a white rabbit foot. For our last potion, the moon glow potion. With this one, we do add the spring water first. Our first ingredient is moon crystals. Contrary to its name, these aren't actually from the moon. They are a mineral collected from the deepest reaches of specific caves. Excavators usually harvest these rocks to use as lamps, as they provide their own natural light. However, they do lose their potency and glow over time. Therefore, it is very, very important that you use this ingredient as soon as you get it. We will be adding only one crystal, since freshly harvested. And one goes. So, as you know, one moon crystal next is a grasp of ectoplasm. And finally, my favorite, the glow berries, specifically one vine of ripe glowberry. There we go. Luckily, this ectoplasm is a little bit old. Fresh ectoplasm is very, very, very runny and hard to collect. However, the longer it sits and exists, the more viscous or slimy it gets. Ectoplasm, as you can guess, is remnants of ghosts that wander throughout the night. Adventurers typically look for the ectoplasm at the break of dawn. Ectoplasm tends to evaporate in the sunlight, but if you collect it during the peak of night, it's almost impossible, as it is too runny. Before dawn is the perfect time. Now, ectoplasm. This gives the potion its viscosity. Typically, users apply this potion almost as if a cream or a lotion on the areas they want the healthy glow. Now, in order to get an accurate measurement I will use the skyzors to cut a piece. But first, you have to work the ectoplasm to make it nice and malleable. That it's fully kneaded, we can cut how much we need using the skyzors. And how much you add depends on the client's request of how creamy or thick they want their potion. And I think that's enough ectoplasm. Just that much, and in it goes. The rest can be sealed in a separate jar. The final component is glowberries. Glowberries may sound delicious, but the berry is quite opposite. They are harvested from vines on top of the most mountains at their peak. These berries may look like regular berries, but at nighttime they glow. Due to the cold temperatures at the mountain peaks, these berries are quite hard and not fit for consumption. Unless you're very desperate and have a very, very strong jaw. The unripe berries are a little bit softer, but you can know a ripe vine by the sound. As an example, this is the unripe. That was the unripe. And now this is the ripe berries. So we just pluck, 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 pluck all the ripe berries and plop, into the cauldron. I think it's time to let it boil as well. One final boil for the night. And there we have it. One completely brewed moon glow potion. Now to add this into the jar, add just a little bit more. There we go. And there we have it. Moon glow potion. Now, traveler, you have witnessed 3 great creations: the sleeping potion, the potion of luck, and finally the special moon glow potion. Unfortunately, these potions aren't for you. They're for paying customers. If you'd like to request something, I suggest you do so with some coin in your hand. That way, I will be at your utmost service.